Some game developers recently have come out with their statements of Gen AI usage, and some of their audience members felt quite betrayed. So let's look at some of these situations. First up, we have Uma Musumi. This is posted by Dextero to Twitter, writing, Uma Musumi developer Cygames is coming under fire after announcing their AI-focused studio. In their press release, they describe generative AI as key technology able to turn accumulated knowledge into, quote, the driving force behind the next wave of creativity, end quote. So on January 9th, Cygames announced the release of Cygames AI Studio, which is a newly formed and standalone studio aiming to develop AI-powered tools for creative production. We can only imagine what that is going to be used for. And this is translated on their exact website, but it basically highlights that Gen AI is like a new technology that's really cool. And we're aiming to, create our own models and provide services for production sites. So fans, notably of this, definitely aren't happy about it. We have people saying, translation, feed stolen art into AI and generate. Theft described as innovation. Next wave of creativity or cheaper content. Other people are just saying ew, but there are also people who seem quite happy about this development, calling Cygames based or saying things like, you can't stop progress, technology is going to happen no matter what. Other people are expressing the sentiment like this, AI and creativity can't be in the same sentence. And because of the backlash, Cygames actually released a clarifying statement today. Right, I'm sorry, I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing all these names wrong. They write, to all our Kygame fans and supporters, over the past few days, we've received numerous comments expressing anger and disappointment from many of you. This was because we released a simplified announcement in Japanese concerning the founding of Cygames AI Studios Inc., without addressing any of the current problems and social debates surrounding Gen AI. We sincerely apologize for the confusion we've caused. We like to take this opportunity to state that art produced from Gen AI is not used in our products. Furthermore, we will not implement Gen AI into our products without prior notice. Backing up real quick, I think this is definitely really interesting. They say, it's not like we're never gonna use Gen AI. It's in the future if we use it. Well, we'll let you know, don't worry, but the door is open here. They continue. We hold in the highest regard those who love games, as well as the dignity, passion, and heart of the creators and artists who act as the architects of gaming culture. The art for all current Cygame games and other products is crafted from the technical know-how and manual work from many of our staff members. Once again, we deeply apologize for causing our beloved fans such grief and anxiety. We will continue to honor creators as well as champion the free expression of people, and will continue to strive to be the best in entertainment. People in the comments, again, are kind of 50-50. People are like, this still feels kind of sus, right? Because you said, there's no Gen AI in your game, so there's none in the final product. Doesn't mean that it wasn't potentially used in the creation process at some point without our knowledge. We have the case of other games where it was found out they used Gen AI as placeholders, and it was removed when the game was published, except people found out because they left one AI poster in the game. Other people are like, well, at least you're gonna tell people if you use AI in your product. But most people are like, yo, if you say it's not using your game, then what are you using AI for? If you don't plan on using AI in your game, then what is the point of making an AI studio at all? And other people are pointing out, this post writes, quote, we won't implement Gen AI into our products without prior notice, end quote, has an opening position for image generation AI specialist. Reading between the lines, I think we all know what this means. And it's a job listing for Cygames AI Studio. This is most definitely hilarious to me, honestly. Some potential benefit of doubt, sometimes job listings go up and then the job is filled, but the job listing is not taken down. So maybe there is a case of something like that where there was a fill or a removal of the job and they left the listing up. But I mean, you kind of know what they were aiming for because the listing is up. So maybe there is that benefit of doubt, but the message is conveying if you do put out a statement of oh, this, that, and the third, da-da-da-da-da, you're still hiring people for an AI specialist, And some people were saying, oh, well, you don't know what they're using the AI for. Maybe it's not Gen AI, but maybe it's something else. Well, there is a job listing for AI specialist for image generation. So, I mean, we can probably safely assume what that job listing is going to entail and that it's going to involve Gen AI in some way, shape, or form. And another commenter found more job listings: AI specialist image generation, enhanced learning engineer, language model engineer, potential diffusion model engineer. Some people are also saying, well, Cygames and Cygames and Cygames AI are two separate companies. So maybe like they won't have any feedback into each other. Maybe like one will not feed into the other. Is that a true statement? Sure. But I mean, on their website, they say that Cygames Inc. established Cygames AI Studio. Like it's a separate company, but they made the company that is going to create AI. You can't really be like, oh, well, I'm against crypto, but then go make a crypto company and then be like, well, that's not me. That's another company. Like you made it. So I don't know what to tell you. So next up, we have Larian Studios. Now, Larian Studios was the studio that created the award-winning game Baldur's Gate 3. It won a ton of awards, da da da. And then they, made a statement being like, well, we like use Gen AI to like make concept art and stuff like that, but we're still gonna hire real people for their new game, Divinity. And the public was quite upset about that. And I've made a video about this, and I'll link it down below. So Dextero posted this update writing, Larian's CEO, Swen Vinke, has said there will not be any Gen AI art in Divinity. In an Ask Me Anything on Reddit, he added, quote, to ensure there is no room for doubt, we've decided to refrain from using Gen AI tools during concept art development, end quote. Because that was what they said they were going to use it for, right? They were like, oh, well, there's going to be no like Gen AI in the final game product. We're just going to use it for concept art. And then the concept artists got mad because they're like, Gen AI steals from artists. It steals from us, concept artists. So in the Dextero article, Vinky clarifies, I know there's been a lot of discussions about us using AI tools as part of concept art exploration. We've already said this doesn't mean the actual concept art is generated by AI, but we understand it created confusion. Because again, like the way they said it, it sounded like they were saying, hey, the final concept art will not be Gen AI, but that in our ideation process, we will use Gen AI to generate ideas. That's what it seemed like, right? The CEO clarified that they're not going to use Gen AI tools during concept art development, period. So at least it's good they clarified that. But then it continues, where AI does stay in the picture is speed. Vinky explains that iteration is everything. Having said that, we continuously try to improve the speed at which we can try things out. The more iterations we do, the better in general the gameplay is. We think Gen AI can help with this, and we're trying this out across departments. So they're still using Gen AI, no? So yeah, people in the comments were definitely like 50-50. Some people were saying things like, well, it's a good thing that like they're finally pushing back, etc. like that. Other people are saying, well, they did say they're going to continue to use Gen AI, so... And yeah, this is the full answer. They add, finally, the important bit to note is that we will not generate creative assets that end up in a game without being 100% sure about the origins of the training data and the consent of those who created the data. If we use a Gen AI model to create in-game assets, then it will be trained on data we own. So that looks to be the final clarification for this situation, where I guess they're gonna be using Gen AI, but an in-house model trained on their own data. And then the writing director clarifies that about placeholder text being Gen AI, right? Because there was like a mention about that they clarify we don't have any text generation touching our dialogues, journal entries, or other writing in Divinity. TLDR, the Gen AI placeholder sucked, and even his shitty writing was better than the Gen AI. And then user Reed Southern also has this screenshot from the art director at Larian, where the art director says, I can't speak for everyone. We have a very diverse and international team, and each person has their own opinion. But in terms of production, we don't use AI to generate our assets. We see AI as a potential tool to optimize certain workflows, like motion capture data cleanup or retargeting animations from the actor's original performance capture. We don't want to use AI to make game assets, generate models, or even base models to sculpt on top of, because those assets would never meet the quality bar we're setting for art and Divinity. We've also decided to stop using any AI in concept art as reference material, so there's no ambiguity about the nature of our art assets. That said, having any generated concept art in the game was never our intention either. So again, it's good the art director added this clarity with a stronger emphasis on like no generated concept art, none of that, period. But people are also expressing confusion because this seems to contradict with what the CEO said, because the CEO kind of gave it a lot more of a loose open door when it came to Gen AI, at least in like their own model. Whereas the art director has a very hard like, no, we're not going to use it. And then there is an update about Warhammer. So we have this post by Culture Crave writing, Warhammer Maker Games Workshop has banned the use of AI in its content production and design process. A small number of senior managers have experimented with Gen AI tools. None are that excited about the technology. The company plans to hire more human creatives. And this is the full IGN article written January 13th by Wesley Yinpool. So the CEO, Kevin Roundtree, said, basically, We currently are very cautious and don't allow AI generated content or AI in our design process or its unauthorized use outside of Games Workshop, including in any of our competitions. We're allowing those few senior managers to be inquisitive, so I guess they're still allowing them to test it out. We want to protect our intellectual property and respect human creators. So at least it's reassuring to see companies like a big one like Games Workshop and Warhammer, have an adamant like, yo, we don't mess with AI, like, mm-mm. But with these updates, I'm curious about your thoughts at the end of the day. Personally, really like it when they're like, yo, we hear you, we're committed, we're not gonna use it. When they're really wishy-washy, it's kind of like, well, kind of why you're wishy-washy, you know what I mean? But don't send hate to any parties involved. If you like this video, I appreciate it. If you like and subscribe, don't forget to check me out on Etsy. I have emotes and overlays there. I also have a coffee with free resources, and I stream on Twitch. I'm back to streaming again 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST. I might move the Wednesday stream to Thursday. So anyways, I hope to catch you guys in a stream or in another video. Peace.